before we get Jen on, you have to read this book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. And so I listened to this book on my way to work, and he goes, the first chapter is going to blow you away. And so I'm like listening to it. All of a sudden, I think I actually called him while I'm driving, and I went, oh my God.
Right?
Yeah. And so he goes, she knows this stuff. All right. So now that you've gotten your water and you've gotten your breath back, we're going to dive right back in past life regressions. And I have to know more from a traditionalist, academia, all that kind of stuff. For a lot of people, past life regressions is a hard nut to swallow. How do you educate the skeptic? And please tell us this next story.
That's a lot.
I know.
So
well, Spencer has to recover. It'll take some 15 minutes.
Okay. One of the things that I love, so remember I was telling you, I went on this whole journey of looking into what's called complementary and alternative methods, right? And one of that, I had read Brian's book when I was actually in high school. I tried a past life regression just because I read the book, I was blown away. I'm like, let me try this. When I was in college, it didn't work. I think the person was learning. Yeah, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just not for me. But there's some really cool stuff here. I remember when I was on the plane going out to Sedona, I read, what is the one? Only Love is Real, I believe. And it just blew me away. So anyway, I decided at that point I needed to learn more about past life regression because that book blew me away. And it just so happened, I live in South Florida. That year, he was going to be at the Miami Book Fair signing books. So I went there. I asked him to sign it. I told him how powerful the book was for me. And I said, I'm a psychotherapist. I would love to get trained. He's like, you got to come to my training in Austin. Boom, boom, boom. Done. That year I got trained in it. Okay. And I started to do the work. I got trained by him and his wife. And I started to do this in that practice. Remember those two silos over here, academia, or is it this over here? One of the things that I would really, because there's a lot of people out there that do past life regression. There's a lot of people that call themselves hypnotists, but they're not hypnotherapists. Now stay with me here. There's a reason why I'm distinguishing between the two. One of the things that I love about Brian is he's a psychiatrist, and he's not just any psychiatrist, Yale, top of his class, came down to Mount Sinai, was, I believe, sorry, Brian, I think he was like the chief of psychiatry at a very young age at Mount Sinai, had already published a number of research articles, and, that was his modality. So he didn't believe in any of this. Extremely academic, extremely analytical. There's no new age, foo-foo, blah, 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 right? And then how he came across it in his story with the first person that he started to experience this stuff with was someone that worked at the hospital and was referred to him. She couldn't swallow pills. She couldn't take medication, and she had a lot of trauma. Over the year that they worked together, she got a little bit better, but not significantly. And then he's like, all right, well, let's try this new thing, like this hypnosis thing that I've learned about. And he said something along the lines of, go back to the first time when this trauma first happened or something. And she went back, and he's like sitting there going, what is this? And started bringing forward all of this information that this woman didn't know in this lifetime. That's what shifted for him, putting him onto this whole other path. Now, his story is his story, but I loved that because here was a role model for me of someone that can blend both of those, right? Here I am having these two separate things in my life, academia. We don't talk about this stuff, but oh my gosh, like major cool experiences. So I was drawn to him. And I just really soaked up as much as I could from that, from his books, from his training, and decided to start trying that out and had some really cool experiences. And then here's my story. And by the way, this story is in his latest book with his daughter, Miracles Happen. So this is my own personal story. So before I was pregnant, before any of this stuff that happened with my husband, he had been in a car accident and was recommended to a massage therapist that works specifically on these things, like 45 minutes from our house. And he had a session. He calls me up afterwards. He's like, she's amazing. You need to come here. She does something called craniosacral. So for my jaw, for TMJ. Okay. So I'm like, all right, cool. If that's going to help me, I'll go. I'm game. That's no problem. Sidebar, pause button, sidebar. At the same time, sorry.
I love that.
Sorry. So at the same time, I had in the bottom left quadrant of my stomach, I had this like little white rash, little bumpy thing pop up. It didn't hurt. It didn't itch. It was just ugly and growing. And I went to a dermatologist. I went to a couple of doctors. Nobody could figure it out. They gave me creams. They gave me da-da-da. No one could figure it out. And about a week before I went to this person, 2 weeks, the doctor said, listen, here's this cream. If it doesn't work, we're going to do a biopsy because this is serious. Like nothing's helping it. I'm like, all right. Okay. So that happened. So I'm going to this massage therapist for TMJ massage. I don't know what craniosacral is, but I'm game. Let's go. While I'm there, I begin to have a vision of Vikings. And I'm on a boat. And it kind of gave me, remember that old commercial, the Capital One commercials? Remember those?
Totally.
Like the Vikings, right? That's what it sort of reminded me of. I'm on this ship and I can see the Vikings and I'm going, and now all of a sudden I'm pregnant. I've not been pregnant in this lifetime, but I'm going to tell you, I literally was laying on the table with my eyes closed and I had my hands on my belly as if I was feeling a belly. And I started to get a download of information. Remember, I'm trained in past life regression therapy. I've tried it myself. It didn't happen for me. But I'm doing it on other people. So I believe all of this. I'm recognizing in the moment that this is coming up. Strangely, the massage therapist is having a vision of it at the same time, and she knows to ask me to go through it. And so we're kind of taking it through. She's doing it in a very unethical way. And she holds me there for a really long time, and she doesn't know what to do. What I realize is I'm downloaded with actually despair. I realized that I was a very young child that had been impregnated by her father. And her father was the head Viking on the ship. And her mother knew about it and didn't protect her and didn't do anything. And what they were doing is their drunken selves, the Viking and his team, or his, whatever they call him. It's just a horrific thing. Drunk, disgusting. I'm downloaded with this. I remember the smells. I feel the despair. And they abandoned me on an island. And then I'm getting this feeling of there was a sword. And I remember taking this sword and putting it into my belly. I couldn't know if it was to kill the baby or myself or both, but it was definitely something grave. Because this woman was not skilled and she didn't know what to do. And she's laughing and joking about this as this is sort of happening. I emerged from that not having resolved anything, but seriously going, that actually was really remarkable and incredible. Oh my gosh, where I put that sword is where I've got that rash right now. So we talked about it a little bit. She's like, you've got to come back and have another session with me and figure this out. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I called my husband. I said, you're not going to believe what this happened right down in that area. I drive home 45 minutes and I sort of pull down my pants to show him, like, it's right in this area where I put the sword. And it looked like it was a little smaller, right? We went to sleep. I woke up the next morning. It was gone. And it has never come back. Now, oh my God. That in itself is a whole other story for another day of how I went through it. But what I will tell you is, because of that and the seriousness of it, I will tell you, and if anybody is interested in having a past life regression, folks, please listen to me. There is real healing that happens in this, and memories that you get downloaded with, whether I made those up or not, who knows? I can tell you I had real evidence that it went away. Who knows if I saw a movie, whatever, but I'm going to tell you the emotions that I had, that level of despair, I had never in my life ever felt, ever. And it was downloaded and it was real. And what I want people to know is that if you're going to do this work, number one, if you're going to conduct past life regressions, you better know what you're doing. And you better know therapeutically how to help someone through trauma, because it is dangerous to let somebody leave with that. Now, imagine, I've already been trained in it. I'm a psychotherapist. I believe in it. And I had a heck of a time walking through that and learning this information. So people who are out there that want to go and experience one, please don't go to a hypnotist. Go to a hypnotherapist. That is a skilled psychotherapist that has a master's degree or a doctorate in that realm, who's also trained in that, because this real healing can happen more than just physical. And that's what I want everybody to know. Please do this ethically and responsibly. Obviously, I worked through it. Obviously, I took that even more and went into this. But it's also the reason why I'm so passionate about this work, because I see this healing happen. Remarkable healing happen in a short period of time. So anyway,